For decades, we've thought of a surgeon's skill as something almost magical, right? It's all in the steadiness of their hands, this incredible craft built over years and years of practice. But what happens when a machine can learn that exact same craft just by watching? Well, we're about to dive into that very collision between human expertise and robotic precision in a field where the stakes couldn't possibly be higher.
This was the feeling among so many radiation oncologists. Sure, AI could help with scheduling, maybe even assist with treatment planning, but the actual procedure, this delicate, hands-on work called brachytherapy, that felt uniquely human. It felt safe, like this is our domain. A machine can't touch this.
But as we're seeing in pretty much every industry, what feels totally safe and secure today can become a myth tomorrow. So let's unpack how that long-held belief started to completely fall apart.
And the reason it doesn't hold up isn't some far-off sci-fi theory. Nope, it's because of a real-world event that sent an absolute shockwave through the surgical community, proving that the age of automated surgery, well, it's already here.
So get this, we're not talking about a robot arm that a surgeon controls. We're talking about an autonomous system at Johns Hopkins that did a whole gallbladder surgery, start to finish. And here's the kicker, the part that changes everything. It learned how to do it just by watching videos of human surgeons. That's a whole different ballgame.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, how did it actually do? Well, a human surgeon was still faster, keyword for now, but the robot, its movements were smoother, way more consistent, and its precision was already on par with a seasoned professional. You can see where this is going, right? And that's the thing about technology, isn't it? It just keeps getting better. With every single software update, every new sensor, every hour of surgical video it analyzes, the robot improves. It never gets tired, its hands never shake. So the logical conclusion here is that eventually these systems aren't just going to match us, they're going to outperform us. Not maybe, but in real, measurable ways.
So all of this brings us right back to that procedure we mentioned at the start, the one that was supposed to be untouchable. Let's dig into why brachytherapy was considered the last great human anchor in this field.
So for anyone who's not familiar, brachytherapy is a kind of radiation treatment where the radiation source is put right inside or right next to the spot that needs treatment. And the key thing to understand here is that it's all about the hands. The doctor isn't just supervising from across the room, they are physically there, placing needles, managing the implant, and making tiny adjustments on the fly.
And that's exactly why they call it an anchor. It's one of the last procedures that physically tethers a doctor's value to their direct, hands-on technical skill. So if automation comes along and just lifts that anchor, what happens to the whole ship?
This really is the fundamental question, the big fork in the road for the entire specialty. Is the arrival of a brachytherapy robot a massive threat to a physician's relevance? Or is it this unbelievable opportunity to make patient care better than ever before?
I mean, we've seen this pattern play out before, right? It's kind of a slippery slope. A new technology starts off as a tool that just assists the doctor. Then, as it gets better and safer, the doctor's role shifts to just supervising the machine. And the final step, if it gets routine enough, the whole thing could become technician run, pushing the expert out of the room completely.
The two sides of this coin could not be more different. On one hand, you have a very real threat. Doctors could lose their procedural skills, their clinical oversight gets weaker, and their relevance starts to shrink. But on the other hand, the opportunity is just huge. We're talking about robots that could deliver treatment with superhuman precision, making things faster, safer, and maybe even available to more people. You just can't ignore either side.
So if this change is inevitable, the conversation has to stop being about if and start being about how. How do we build a future that grabs all of that opportunity without falling victim to the threat?
And this right here is the core message. The goal isn't to try and fight a losing battle against technology. That's a fool's errand. It's about getting involved right now to make sure that when these systems are built, they're built on the right principles with the right people calling the shots.
So what does building it right actually mean? Well, it means making sure these three pillars are the absolute foundation. First, clinical integrity, so the tech is serving real medical needs, not just some company's bottom line. Second, patient safety has to be the #1 non-negotiable priority. And third, and this is so crucial, maintaining physician-led care, where human expertise is guiding the technology, not the other way around.
Look, this is not a one-person job, or even a one-group job. Building it right is going to take a massive, coordinated effort from the whole healthcare world. You need the medical societies like ASTRO and ABS setting the standards.
You need the physicists and the regulators like the FDA to make sure the tech is actually safe. And you even need the big payment groups like CMS to figure out how we value and pay for all this. Getting all of these folks on the same page is the only way to build a future anyone can trust.
So ultimately, it really just comes down to a simple but very stark choice for the experts whose hands have defined this field for decades.
And this quote really says it all. The role of the physician doesn't have to just vanish in the thin air. It can evolve. It can become something new, maybe overseeing fleets of these complex systems, handling the really tough cases, and pushing the limits of what's even possible. But that future? It's only on the table for those who choose to lead the change, not just sit back and watch it happen.
You know, this story isn't just about surgery. It's really a preview for almost every skilled job out there. As machines learn to do the things that once defined our value, the question we all have to start asking ourselves is, what's next for us? What becomes the new, irreplaceable value of human experience and wisdom?